Las Vegas home prices hit their highest level ever. There's a giant quarantine tent being built for the homeless. It's the first time that's ever happened in American history. And should we be using the hotels as isolation units, hospitals, or homeless shelters? We're going to talk about all that in today's video. My name is Steven. I am not leaving Las Vegas. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to videos, hit the bell for future notifications. And what do you think? Do you think the hotels should be forced, against their own will, obviously, to be used as hospitals and to be used as quarantine units or homeless shelters? Give me some comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions and feedback, and we can strike up a conversation. Speaking of conversation, reach out to us on the Facebook group called Not Leaving Las Vegas. And if you want to be on the credits of the video, go over to Patreon. You guys can see stuff I can't talk about on YouTube. I post those once a week or so, every so often, and I would love to see you guys there as well. So, with that, we have the news. I just got back from the Strip. I'm wearing my Caesar's Palace gear right here. I filmed the dead Las Vegas Strip. I'm going to be editing that footage and putting it together, so you might want to subscribe just for that reason alone, because I do some decent videos here where we talk about things, and then we do some great videos where we go and we do some nice little short films with editing and proper things, not just me in a car. Anyways, home prices are the highest they've ever been in Las Vegas. Gadzooks, how did that ever happen? So it turns out the median home price from March 2019 to March 20 increased to $319,000. That's an increase of $19,000 over the previous year. You might be saying to yourself, how is that even possible? Well, you got to remember, stock markets react on a daily basis. If the leaders of the world come out and say positive things, the stocks come up. If the leaders of the world come out and say negative things, the stocks go down. It's a real-time system in a real-time market. Real estate, on the other hand, is giant, huge buildings built all over the place with big investments and big companies backing them. And the economy of that area, I'm sweating, by the way. It's actually warm in my car today. That's why I'm sorry about that. And the economy of the area has a lot to do with it, so it's a lot more complicated. So the housing prices have increased. Is it going to keep doing that? I don't know. I did a whole video on the possible housing crash that might not even happen in Las Vegas, and I hypothesized that if people can get back to traveling with any kind of money at all, the casinos can generate any kind of income at all, and can bring back at least 75–80% of their workforce and don't keep people laid off, I don't think we're going to have much of a problem in Las Vegas. And if you do have a mortgage and you're in any city, at any place in the country right now, just know there's about 2 months where people aren't going to be in super duper trouble. They're going to suspend all foreclosures for FHA-backed loans. And if you have a privately held mortgage and loan, I know that you can call your company and get some kind of relief. Somebody rightly and intelligently pointed out in my comments of a video that it might not be a big problem, because even if a person missed 2 or 3 payments, they can always be deferred and put on the back end of their loans. So if you had some kind of 30-year loan, you might be paying for 30 years plus 3 months, as opposed to having to worry about a foreclosure right now. But as I said in that same video, if things don't get back to normal and people don't travel, or they're afraid to travel, especially to a place like Las Vegas, or Vegas doesn't offer them the value that they need, we could be in a world of hurt if the casinos have people laid off and those people need that money in order to pay their home loans. We could see foreclosures. That would see a dip in the prices, but it's going to take 6 months to 9 months for us to really tell about that, so I don't want to jump the gun too much. Secondly, the question of the day is, should we put the homeless into hotels? Should we turn the hotels into isolation quarantine units? That's an open question. I read a really good article that said that we probably should never do any of those things. And I'll tell you that I most likely agree with that. You can tell me I'm wrong in the comments below. Just be nice about it and don't use any bad insulting words. But think about it this way. Hotels were never meant to be that. Sure, you can take a boat and you can put wheels on it and you can try to drive it around on the ground because it's all just a thing that drives, right? Or you can take your car and put a propeller on it and try to make it go in the water. It's not going to work the way you want it to work. I know those are terrible analogies and I usually have better ones, but hotels would be better off as private businesses donating their money to places that can actually use it. It's like when you go to the food bank and you give them, like, you know, they don't want your perishable food. You might think you're doing a good thing by delivering things that are going to go bad because you figure it's going to go out the door, but they're saying, no, can you please just give us some money at the food bank, because we have deals with the grocery stores. We have deals with ways to get food for way cheaper. So if the hotels were to donate money, it's going to be a lot better than if they try to make the hotel into an isolation unit or into a homeless shelter? There's a number of reasons. First reason is isolation units and quarantine centers, they're very specialized buildings. If you paid attention to what was happening in China in January when this horrible virus was going around the world, you would have seen that those hospitals that they built, they were specialized. They had special air pressure. The air pressure in the hospital was actually less than the air pressure outside. And that prevented air from getting outside of the hospital and kept everything quarantined in one spot. Hotels don't have that possibility. The hotels here, some of them, like the Flamingo I was in front of today, are like 76 years old. It's ridiculous. You can never do that. Secondly, they're really not built for that. I mean, you have 50 stories in a hotel. You can't put a proper unit with nurses and people to take care of people in a hotel. Thirdly, the hotels are right now going under as extreme scrutiny from Wall Street, trying to clean up their act, trying to make sure that everything is good for people coming back to travel, trying to make sure it's safe, and trying to make sure that there's no germs lingering that might be sitting there, and try to make sure that everything's good. So by opening up and using it as a second type of building, they would never be open in the time when the state lifts their sanctions. They would have to basically start all over again, clean everything all over again, and it would be a pain. Now, I will give credit to New York City. There's some big name hotels in New York that are using the hotels for first responders, people who have to get to somewhere really quickly. We're talking about police, medical units, nurses and doctors who are being shipped in from all over the country to battle the horrible virus there. And that's a good thing. That's a good use for a hotel. But then again, they're all private. Hotels will do what hotels will do. But the good news is, a lot of the hotels here donating massive amounts of money to the cause. Sands, 2 million masks. Hotels in general, $4 million so far from the task force that Jim Mirren, the CEO of Caesars Entertainment, or the ex-CEO of MGM, that is, has put together. So I give him credit and props for that. Lastly, we have very positive news here. We have the city building the first ever isolation quarantine unit for the homeless in the country. Now, Vegas got a lot of flack a week or two ago when it was discovered that they were putting the homeless up into the Cashman Center's parking lot, drawing lines, and all of these websites went click, click, clickbait everywhere you could look. Look how bad it is. No dignity. Dehumanization. Yeah, but at the same time, they went with some of the manufacturers of the tents that go out to big, huge special events. When I went to the CES show, there was tents the size of buildings out front. They're building this and they're splitting it into an isolation unit and a quarantine unit. Isolation units are for, I believe, people who are exhibiting symptoms. Quarantine units are for people who are symptomatic and have been tested positive. This will be fully funded and staffed by the city and by medical professionals. And this is the first time anybody's ever done this in the history of the United States for the homeless population. So major props go out to the city. I was harsh on them when they didn't seem to have much of a plan. Unfortunately for right now, this has been slightly delayed. Construction takes time, and this is the first time anybody's ever done it. But that's a positive note. So it looks like the city is taking money from the hotels, channeling it into something positive with the trading convention industry, putting some people to work, and giving some people a chance and a hope that don't even have a home to sleep in a warm bed like you and me, a chance to get better and get well, which is really great. So that's the news for today. You tell me what you think. Should those hotels be turned in and forced to be isolation units, quarantine units? Should they be forced to have the homeless in them? I don't know. It's a crazy question. What are your thoughts on the fact that the home prices went up? Is it going to go down? Do you still think we're heading over towards the doomsday scenario of Vegas being a ghost town? Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment on this video, hit the bell for notifications, and also head on over to Patreon if you want to be in the credits of the video. We're also on Facebook with the Not Leaving Las Vegas group, and you of course can email me by using the link in the description below and I will reply. Thanks for watching, sharing, liking. Now's the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click. I'm going to let you guys go and enjoy your day. So 3, 2, 1, and click.